Okay, I don't know if I'm ready to film this. So I asked you guys on my Tumblr if you wanted to hear a story time about my horror experience working at Hollister, or if you wanted to hear about how my ex-boyfriend ended up being gay, and most of you said you wanted to hear that. I'll probably end up talking about the other story as well in another video, but today's video is going to be a story time about how my ex-boyfriend ended up being gay. So the point of this video is not really to expose this guy or anything like that, anything harsh. I don't have like harsh feelings towards him or anything. I just wanted to tell you guys my story as something for me to look back on and remember. It's kind of funny to me. Like it doesn't matter to me like if he's gay, like that's fine. I support anyone who's gay, but it's also kind of like so that you guys should be more careful with who you're dating. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get on with the story. Well, I was young, probably about 13 or 14, I'm not exactly positive, but I just remember having this friend, and I'm gonna use all fake names in this video just for protecting people's identities, and like I said, I don't want to expose this person, even though I'm sure he's out of the closet. Well, I'm positive he's out of the closet, but I'll get on into that later. I just want to protect his identity. This is not meant to expose him. So anyways, my friend, let's call her Karen. My friend Karen had invited me to go to the street fair, and that's this little hangout in my town. And we went to the street fair, and here is where I met Greg. And Greg is the main character of this story, I guess. I saw Greg and I was like immediately in love, like, you know, as a 13-year-old you think you're in love. But anyways, so I saw Greg and he had these green eyes and he was tall and he had this dark hair and long hair, and back then I loved this like skinny long hair, you know, emo kind of guy, and that's basically what he looked like with his skinny jeans and whatnot. So I was like in love when I saw him. I was like, I have to have him. And then he opened his mouth and he talked, and he sounded like this. So that was probably the first red flag, was that his voice was more feminine than mine. And you guys might be thinking like, oh, you were young, like he's probably hasn't hit puberty. And yes, that could be the case. Well, it was the case, but it was extremely, extremely high. Also, he was about a year or two older than me, and most guys will hit puberty in that age. We were friends / boyfriend and girlfriend on and off for a couple years, and he did end up going through puberty, and his voice drastically changed. Like, I remember my friend putting him on three-way with a call with me, and like his voice was like, it was so manly, it was insane. It didn't even sound like the same person. But that's besides the story. That was already after we had broken up and we were just friends at that point. So I almost said his name, I brought Greg over to my house. And another red flag was that my mom said, he looks gay, he's wearing makeup. And she used to always say that to me and like all my siblings and stuff. But I never really listened to them because back then I used to like guys like this. And like they all looked like that, and she used to say that all my boyfriends looked gay, so I didn't think of anything of it. And as far as makeup, I didn't think he wore makeup, but looking back I do remember that his face was really pale, and now I realize that he was wearing makeup. Greg used to never ever let me over to his house as a friend or as a girlfriend. He never let me to his house, and that was probably another red flag, because what was he hiding, you know? I used to always be jealous because back then we used to be on MySpace, and Greg would always message this girl named Tiffany on MySpace, and they'd all be in each other's comments and stuff, and I used to be so jealous of her. But you know, obviously they had nothing going on. Another red flag was that he didn't have any guy friends, which is fine because I know many guys that don't have any guy friends and they're completely straight. But considering the situation, that probably would have been a red flag. And I know at this point you're probably thinking like, girl, is you stupid or what? Like, is you dumb? And honestly, I don't know how I didn't see this coming, like now that I think, but I have a little story that probably was the hugest red flag of all time. But Mom, Dad, if you're watching this, just turn off this video. You do not want to hear this. Trust me, it's about sexual things, so turn this video off if you're watching this. Greg and I used to only make out, you know, as 13, 14-year-olds. I guess that's what they do. So one day I actually saw his, that was the first one I had ever seen. I never like seen pictures of him or seen any other before. But now that I have something to refer to, when I was younger and I saw it, I was wondering like, why is it so small and like squishy? Like, that's not what I had heard about before, or you know. But I just assumed like, oh, he has a small little thing, and I like didn't care because I'm 13 and I wasn't gonna do anything anyways. All I did was see it. So yeah, that was a red flag because like obviously like it wasn't at its full potential because he probably wasn't turned on by me at all. So that was the biggest red flag. And a little side story to that, which really was so embarrassing, is that the next day after I saw his, I went to my aunt's house and I was in the room on the phone with my friend Tim, and I was telling Tim like, oh my god, I saw little weenie. Like, I thought it was so cool or something. I don't know. I don't know. I saw a weenie, and then like I go out into the living room where my whole family is, and they're like,
Lexi, we heard you over the baby intercom. We heard everything.
And I was so embarrassed and so angry and upset. But I just owned up to it because they heard everything anyway. By the way, my two aunts, my mom was out there, my sister was out there, they all heard it. That's pretty embarrassing. This is kind of stereotypical of me to say, but another red flag was that he listened to extremely feminine music, more so than I did. Well, back then I used to listen to like really hardcore music or whatever. But he would be listening to like Lady Gaga and stuff like that, and this is stereotypical, but it is no secret that a lot of gay men love Lady Gaga, because I don't know, well, everyone loves Lady Gaga, but it's just, you know what I mean. I don't mean to offend anyone by that, but he used to listen to other music that I can't remember, but that's just one thing that I remember, is that he loved Lady Gaga. I was still his friend by freshman year, and he also had become friends with my best friend, and they would hang out and talk on the phone like all the time, more so than him and I did. And he actually took my best friend to homecoming. I was so bummed out. I was just kind of shocked, but I didn't really have any feelings for him at that time. I went with this other guy, and sadly I ended up leaving my date for Greg, and I ended up going to my friend Amber's house with my best friend and a bunch of people, and we all slept over at Amber's house. And me and Greg ended up sleeping on the floor together. We didn't do anything because well, for one, we were young, and for two, he's probably not interested in doing anything with me. Eventually, Greg and I just ended up drifting apart. We weren't really friends. We didn't text or call, or we never got back together. Now you're probably wondering, how did I find out that he's gay if we lost all this contact? And well, the way that I found out was not that he told me, but my best friend, who is friends with him, told me. You're probably thinking, like, why would you believe your best friend? Like, you need to hear it from him yourself. You can't just go on believing whatever you hear. And yes, that's right. Don't believe everything you hear. But she was like, Lexi, I can't believe this. Like, Greg is gay. Have you seen his Instagram? And I'm like, no, I haven't talked to Greg in forever. What's his Instagram? So I went to Greg's Instagram, and it showed pictures of him with other dudes, and pictures of him at gay bars, pictures of him dressed in full-on drag, wigs and everything, and I was just really shocked. But I wasn't mad, I wasn't upset, because like I was already long over him. The only thing that went through my mind was like, did he use me? Like, did he use me as cover-up? Or like, was he confused? I don't know. So that was how I found out, was through his Instagram. And it was no secret on his Instagram that he was gay. Fast forward to a couple years ago, and I see him comment on my friend's picture, who is also gay, by the way. And I click on his name, and you know how you can tell when someone blocks you because it'll say no pictures, but you can see like they have 382 pictures or whatever? Well, he had me blocked, and I was so confused. I was like, why does he feel the need to block me? Like, I don't follow him. How does he even know I'm looking at his Instagram, for one? I looked at it once, and that was when I found out he was gay. And I just was like, does he not want me to know he's gay? Like, I'm fine with him being gay. Like, it's okay to be gay. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. And I'm not angry. I don't think, like, he used me or anything. Like, maybe he did. Maybe he already knew. Maybe he was, like, just strictly using me. But that doesn't bother me because I was 13 years old, and that was so long ago. It's whatever. But yeah, that was just kind of crazy to me that he had me blocked. I was like, okay. So the moral of the story is just be careful who you guys are dating. You know, it's hard to judge someone. It's just hard to really know if someone's being truthful or not. But you just need to always be watching your own back, because you never know. You just never know. You guys need to be careful out there, alright? It's hard out there. My armpits are literally sweating because I'm like so nervous. How cute is that? That's it for this video, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something from it. Just watch yourself. If you do like these videos, then give it a thumbs up. That'll give me a hint to make more story times for you guys, because I do have some stories to tell. I do. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!